Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And we have reached the end of the original Amityville franchise, original films. And after this, we have a remake, a film that I don't know where it would fit in the canon, and one that is technically a prequel. So, it ends the original. It also ends the Curse uh, films that started with um, Evil Escapes. Got skipped over with Curse, and then It's About Time, New Generation, and now Dollhouse. And as far as these cursed films go, I think this is up there with Curse as the most disjointed from the Amityville. Like, they don't even mention the Amityville story. I don't think the name Amityville is brought up. The Dollhouse is there, but they don't say, "Hey, it reminds me of that famous house in New York." No, it's just the dollhouse that happens to look. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a totally unrelated script and someone said, "Hey, you know that dollhouse in the script? Why? What if we made the dollhouse look like the Amityville house and then put this movie in that franchise? That'll give us notability. That'll give us, a shine. People will be like, oh, another Amityville movie." Honestly, this could have just been Haunted Dollhouse or something, and you wouldn't even, you know. I mean, they do mention that, like, this house that they live in is built on the old fireplace. It's the only thing that survived. And so it makes me think that the dollhouse was originally, because it really doesn't make any sense. This dollhouse connects to this house through the fireplace, but the dollhouse looks like the Anvil house, and this house, regular house, does not. So it makes me think in the original script it was the same looking house as the regular house, connected by the fireplace, which would have made sense. Here, doesn't really make sense because it looks like the Amityville house, and there's new evil entities, and this might be the most bonkers one I've watched so far, but I did enjoy it. Once again, we have some familiar faces, at least to me. Robin Thomas, who I know is the dad from Clock Stoppers. He was also in Fuller House. And then we have the stepson, Jimmy, who was Howie on the prom episode of Boy Meets World. And Lisa Robin Kelly, rest in peace, who was Eric's sister, Lori, on that 70s show. And this was a couple years before that show. Actually, it came out in 97. So, yeah, this was a year before that show came out. So, and yeah, so this family, they move into this new house. That the dad, played by Robin Thomas, he was a contractor. He makes this house. It's out in the middle of fucking nowhere. But he built this house, and there's a shed there already, I guess. He built it next to. So the house, apparently, from what I could gather, is that this house burned down in fire. Fireplace only thing that survived. And they don't outright say it, but because like the dad says, when he was younger, he had a vision that his family's house was going to burn down, and when he was out of town, when he was gone, he was at school, the house burnt down. And so, is this that house? Did he rebuild this house on his old property to try to I don't know. I don't know. But it ultimately, demonstrates that there's a psychic link in their family because his sister, Marla, they establish as his sister has some sort of psychic ability, or they can put they're like alchemists or something there. And feel this has alchemy. This has giant rats, sort of. This has bug monsters. It's really weird, but yeah. So they find the dollhouse, and then the girl's bike gets destroyed. They're gonna give it to her for her birthday, so they give her the dollhouse. Which we do believe that the dollhouse destroyed the bike. But because to me, like, it seems like the dollhouse first activates when she like opens it, and then there's like the smoke thing coming through the fireplace in the dollhouse that gets the girl, and she's like not feeling very well. That's never really explained of why, like, she doesn't get possessed or nothing like that. She's like actually very curious of this thing the whole time, trying to figure out what's going on. Eventually, Marla talks her into writing things down in a journal, which is just like 4 different sentences on a picture, but of what goes on. Yeah, we get good old fashioned Amityville incest again, sort of, with this time it's stepson, but it's still kind of weird. Uh, and nothing really happens, but like she starts to get horny for him, like she's having sex with her husband, the new stepmom, and like she's looking at the picture of the of her stepson, who's like a teenager, probably in his 20s. The actor was, but like she's watching, and like the picture is like, first of all, like, is that actually the picture? Like they have a topless picture of the son just standing there in the room. I don't know, but it gets closer. How's it creepier? And then like she comes home because they live in like a freaking desert. It's really hot. They're all sweaty a lot of the times. She comes home one day, and he's out there playing basketball, shirtless, of course. And then she goes upstairs, and she like takes off her jacket, whatever. She's in her bra, starts feeling herself, and I start to get vibes of that scene from It's About Time with the sister, where she's like undoes her pants, puts her hand down there, and then you see like it was supposed to be the stepson come in. And then the dad comes home and she's really horny, but then she sees the stepson standing there and freaks out. And they say, "Oh, we need to get out of the house." And this one I'll give credit to. This one, when they leave the house, they're out for dinner, and they both are like, "You know what? I feel much better now. I feel a little more normal now." It's just a one sentence, but it tells you that in this one at least, whatever evil this is, doesn't have as much reach as the items from Amityville or the house itself, the original house itself. So I don't know, but I like that. I like that. Oh, they're out of the house, but it doesn't affect them anymore. But when I don't know, so the stepson, the oldest son, they established that Jimmy doesn't get along with the other two. Well, he gets along with the daughter, but like the older brother, they don't get along. He's like, they're recently married, so he'd rather, he misses his dad. His dad's a soldier, died in war, and then so that the dollhouse makes the dad appear as an ever decaying zombie. Every time we see this one, it reminds me of the what's his name, Alex from American Werewolf in London. Weirdly enough, because David Naughton was in the last one, but the guy who he gets killed at the beginning, and then throughout the film he decays more and more and more. It reminds me of that. Every time we see this guy, he's more and more decayed. He looks sort of normal, and he's a sort of zombie-ish. He's decayed. By the end of the film, he's at no lips. He's utterly decayed. It's really cool effects. Yeah, so Marla goes to see them, and she steals one of the little dolls that are in the house, the voodoo doll-like things, which, and because she finds them, the little girl finds them at the birthday party, and Marla immediately recognizes him as something. Although he's like, "Shh, no. And so then she grabs one, and they do tests on it, and the doll starts to come to life. So Tobias stabs it, and there's like a bug inside. I will mention also with the rat. So like I said, when I go to Wikipedia, I read a little bit of it. I got up to where the rat went into the dollhouse and came out of the little girl's bed, and I'm like, this could be wacky. You don't really see it though. The rat goes in. It's Jimmy's little pet rat rat goes in. All of a sudden, you see like a tail and some eyes underneath the bed, which the older brother does see. And because he freaks out, bumps the dollhouse, the mouse dies. So, yeah, and he's like, well, he did it on purpose. And it was an accident. It was an accident. Even Dad's like, I know. And she even says to Claire, he's like, it was an accident. She's like, I know. So this was an accident. He has some disdain, whatever. But he asks his girlfriend Dana. His girlfriend Dana comes over, and that's where they tell like the history of the house. It burned down in fire. They built the house. His dad was excited that they built it over the original fireplace. I don't know why he'd be excited about that, but they bring that up, and then they make out, but a giant fly comes at them, which tells the bug thing. And then, so apparently those dolls are husks for the creatures. They're small little flies that cause problems when it comes out. And Marley gets hurt. She's like, you have to go to the house. You have to help them. Because the dad, once again, as explained, when he was a kid, he had visions of the house going on fire. Tried to tell his parents they didn't believe him. He was at school. The house burned down. So now he's having visions again that things are going to happen. So there's that psychic link between him and his sister. So, yeah. We don't see Marla again. Meanwhile, back at the house, and this is what I realized that because there's a part where he wakes up, he goes downstairs, thinks he sees someone standing. There is someone standing there. You can tell there is someone standing there. I think it's supposed to be Jimmy's dad, because you see like legs and stuff standing off to the side. But when he goes down, it's just a pair of shoes by something else, and it's like, no, I saw legs. So I don't know. And he goes in, and the mixer, the drink mixer, that thing is going. The fire is on, and then he sees stuff. And then later, I connected it. That's what I realized. Oh, that was a vision that didn't actually happen, because you got the older son. I forget his name, but he's with his girlfriend, sneaks her in after he says, well, I'm done with her, she's history. But no, he sneaks her in, and then he's like, well, I'll make us some drinks. And she's like, how do you turn the fire on? By the way, this is the most, unrealistic fireplace, because all you have to do is hit a switch on the wall, and the fire turns on. You don't have to, you don't have to mess with the matches or nothing. You just... What fireplace does that? That is a hazard. That is a hazard. Because what if you have someone sitting there with it off, and you bump the thing and it goes off, someone's on fire. I'm just saying that is the most unpractical, the most unbelievable. I don't think that any fireplace, I'm not a big fireplace connoisseur or anything, but I don't think that's realistic to me. Just saying. But yeah, so he's in there making a drink. So while he's doing that, she catches fire. Yes. So if you want to see Lori Foreman on fire, it happens. And so he doesn't hear her screaming because he's mixing the drinks. And he gets done. He goes out there. He sees her on fire. He throws the drink on her. I don't know how strong that alcohol was. I know, this is probably the most realistic alcohol has been portrayed, because most of the time in movies and TV, when you have alcohol and you throw it on someone and it's on fire, it ignites it more, which can't really happen unless it's 100 proof, which this was not. So he throws it on her, it kind of douses her out, but she's burnt, and it's pretty cool burn effects. And she gets taken to the hospital, and the dad wants to go with her, and the boyfriend wants to go with her too, but he says, no, I'll go. And I'm like, why? You were telling him not to date her, to let her go, and now you want to go with her to see if she's okay? I understand that he knows her, and that, she's been around, but so how far from the old house that they moved are they actually? Because, I don't know. It's just really weird. But, so she's in a coma, apparently. And so we get to the climax pretty quickly after the whole bug thing with Tobias and Marla. He's like, you gotta go to the house, and so Jimmy's having problems, and the dad keeps showing his dad keeps showing up periodically in zombie form, and he's telling him you have to kill Bill. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it, and so he smacks him, and then Bill overhears noise and is like, I'll go talk to him, and this is where it gets really weird. Like his wife wasn't already weird. He goes in and he catches him with the zombie, and Jimmy runs out, and the zombie puts his arm around Bill. He's like, "Hey, Bill." I'm like, "Wait, what? This is a zombie dude." He's like, "Let's have a little talk," And he's like, "No," and he pushes him off. But the mom sees that that he's been hitting Jimmy's been hitting the face. Even though that scar goes away pretty quickly because you see the mark on his face there, and then in like the next scene it's gone. So either they didn't want to spend more time on putting the makeup on, they filmed this scene at a different point, or they just forgot he was supposed to have a mark on his face because it's not safe for the rest of the movie. Then again, what if it wasn't actually really there? Like he hit him, but what if there wasn't a mark and she only saw it as a mark so that she would kick Bill out? Because she kicks Bill out, she freaks out, she kicks him out, and the zombie takes both of them and starts doing a story time, which I swear I'm not making up. Okay. And then, so Dad tries to get back in through the garage, but it closes up on him and the car starts trying to kill him with carbon monoxide, but Tobias comes to save the day. They break down the door, and he has a little voodoo doll thing that he throws in the fire, and it kills the zombie dad. And then the daughter, meanwhile, the older brother sees his girlfriend in his room, and is just like, I thought you were in the hospital. I'm like, it wouldn't be more like, oh, I thought you were burnt to a crisp. He's like, you're so beautiful. And I'm like, dude, you saw her catch fire. You saw what she looked like. Why are you not questioning this? And he touches her hair, and the hair comes off, and of course she's still burning. But it's something else. It's the evil of the house, which, like, he knocks her out. Like, the dad comes in, or the stepmom comes in and knocks her out. And she makes a comment, I said she wasn't good for you anyway. I'm like, really? Did you really? You know that's not really her, right? Like, you understand that's not really her, I think, right? No, it couldn't be. She was in a coma. And now she get there, so no, it wasn't really her. Logic out the window. So, everybody but Bill and Tobias get out. They go looking for the daughter. They can't find her. And then they find the journal that says her hand disappears when she puts it through the fireplace. So they realize that the portal is in the fireplace, but it's still on. And so Bill jumps through. And he's in there. He finds his daughter. Tobias jumps through, and he's like, the dolls are like open in a circle around her. Like, what is this? They're husks. There's a giant fly nearly killed Marla and me. Marla is still alive, by the way. She's in the hospital too, I think, or maybe she just stayed behind. She's hurt. I don't know. But then we see the creatures, and they're pretty decent creature effects here. I thought it was pretty good, pretty cool. But yeah, they're able to get out. There's in a door that she couldn't open before because every time she tried to touch it in the dollhouse, it zapped her. But she figures out how to open it here. They jump through. Tobias puts like a protection spell on them so that they can't get to him. And then they go through, and he stays behind. For some reason, he's like, you gotta burn the dollhouse. Come on. No, I gotta stay behind and help you. Well, you had the protection spell. So why don't you just go with them? And then we see he gets thrown through a window just as Bill was picking up the dollhouse, which they made it so big. Why didn't they just, I don't know. I'm just saying. And he puts it in the fire, causing the entire house to blow up. And they play like, oh, is Bill gonna get out? But yeah, he's out. And the movie ends with the house just burning. A very extended shot of the house burning. Maybe it feels like, oh, we have to have a little extra runtime, so just show up burning for a couple extra minutes. Overall, I actually kind of enjoyed this, and I would say that when it comes to Amityville Dollhouse, it's pretty good. So this brings us to the end of the original franchise, and we got 3 more movies to go. We have the remake, we have Amityville: The Awakening, and we have Amityville Murders, which is a prequel. I also plan on doing a ranking, obviously, and also trying to do a timeline video. I know I've only done that with the Fast and the Furious movies, but I want to try to do a timeline video with these movies to try to fit them into one continuity. With the remake and Awakening, it's a little bit iffy, but I kind of taught myself through it last night, and I think I have a way to justify them as their own kind of mini timeline in a way. But I have to rewatch Awakening. I have to see Murders. Obviously, Murders are going to be a prequel, but to connect all these movies together in some way, shape, or form, Curse and Dollhouse are going to be the ones that, for me, are going to be the hardest to try to connect. I could just say they happened, but I don't know. So what are your thoughts on Amityville Dollhouse when it comes to? Let me sure, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.